Hello.
Hi, Nandini.
Hi, Meenal. I'm so happy to invite you today for one episode of the Your Story Counts. And you know that we are running this as a series for our participants in the Story of Me program. So we have spoken before, and I found your story to be quite inspiring and relevant. And so today I want you to share it with us. For our viewers, Meenal runs a platform called Lead Think, which basically is a solution provider that enables senior leaders and managers to create a personal branding and to take their career in their own hands. They have solutions for individuals as well as for corporates. Am I right, Meenal, in my description?
Yes, you are. And
And I will,
you got it on. And this could become my elevator pitch. So I'm going to snitch this from you.
lovely. We will hear a little bit about what Lead Think does, but more importantly, I just want you to share. I want you to share your story of comeback, because you managed careers across countries. You managed to raise successful children. I know they are grown up now and they are in college, and now you are redefining yourself in a very beautiful way, and we want you to share that story.
Thank you, Nandini, first for the opportunity. Um, you know, I never thought that this day would happen to me, that I would be here telling my story. I have worked in media for the longest time. So interviews, people, being written about, and other people being written about, and getting their stories, their successes out in the public domain have, I think, always excited me. And I think somewhere, the inner child has come out um, uh, from these experiences that I've had. And I never thought I'd sit on, in the front of a camera and, you know, uh, recount my story. So, deep gratitude to you for bringing me on. And like I said earlier, handpicking me for this conversation, and believing that my story and the work that I have done could be nuggets of inspiration for other professionals, other women. So, very excited.
Lovely. So tell us a little bit about how you worked at yourself and came out with this idea of Lead Think. I know you work with your husband, but you have a huge role to play in the way you have crafted this organization and the way it's providing service to so many people. So tell us a little bit of your personal journey.
Okay. They say that every author, the first book of every author is about the author or the author's personal experiences, or the author being part protagonist. And I think that's what I've been able to lend to Lead Think. The fact that I have been, unwittingly and without realizing, have been a product of change without realizing. And learning from there and being impacted by it, and using the positive elements of that journey, of that experience, in making me the professional that I am today, so much so that I can help other individuals lead their journeys, lead their careers 2.0s, like the way we say it in Lead Think. So for me, I feel very inspirational about my own self. And not very often are people, yes, there are people who are celebrities, there are people who are leading business leaders, who are given opportunities to impact other professions, so that to impact businesses. And here I am in my journey doing that. So that's what I think I've been able to do, and that's why I've been able to position and even sell Lead Think so with so much conviction, Nandini. So, but I think, as women, we forget that there is a little gene, there's a little DNA in our makeup, which is called recalibration. And from daughter to wife to daughter-in-law to, and all this while some of us may be working. So it's always a duplicity of roles that we have to play. And then from mother, and finally many of us end up being mothers with with profession and kids, and being largely a bigger, taking the bigger role of being a homemaker. That's how genetically and structurally we are aligned, and those are the inherent roles that we take. So I didn't realize this when I was doing it, when I was playing these multiple roles, each having their own targets, each having their own pressures and pulls. And now I think I can sit back because I have my own time and I'm using these experiences to help others. My kids are not with me. They are grown adults who, really appreciate the work that Lalit and I are doing. So now I think is when I'm really realizing it. And that's what I want to tell other women, want to tell other professionals, that very often we aren't told about how great a job that we are doing. And that ownership, that, taking that pat on your back is something that may not come for a long time, may not come at all. But that doesn't mean that you aren't playing your role or you aren't delivering on being a great mom or a super professional. So that's what I really want to talk about. And that recalibration, that little thing that we have in our bodies, we need to give it a little bit more importance. And going back to that point, I will start my journey on this conversation with the year 2010, which is like 10 years away now. I mean, 10 years ago, where we came to Singapore from Kuala Lumpur, and my kids were grown up. They didn't need me. And I was in an environment when my husband was, busy and in his own work. And one day on one, weekend, he says, okay, I've started writing this book. And I said, yeah, great. And I was also at that point in time getting a bit restless. I had I had played a good role of being a lady of leisure in Kuala Lumpur for 4 years when we first moved and before we got to Singapore. So I think I was done with that aspect. Okay, I found it missing in my life. And I enjoyed the afternoon lunches. I enjoyed, cooking. I enjoyed doing a movie mid-morning and things like that. But I needed something to call my own. And I knew that I had the energy of doing something that is impactful. And that was my drive. My drive when I came to Singapore was that I didn't want to work 9 to 5. I want to learn as much as I want to give, because I thought I had amassed huge amount of experiences whilst I was working in India in the publishing industry. So I said, this has got to be as much learning me and as much growing up of an individual, maturing out of my own experiences and learning from others. I was very clear that it is not something that I need to be accountable to somebody else or that I'm working for the sake of money. So that was my vision for my new career. And that really happened when I took on the role of, at that time, also being a supportive wife to a husband who's written his first book. Slowly, I felt I needed to play a more deeper role. I needed to be perceived as a woman of my own intelligence, of my own ability. All right. And that's when a switch happened. And because I was working in publishing, I was damn confident that I would be able to publish and promote Lalit's book as well. And that was the transformation, that switch happened, and then I became a different person. And I really took on the book as it was my own. So much so that somebody even said, like, you should be having your name on the book as well. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that, because the intellect, the blood, sweat, and tears belongs to my husband. I'm just helping him. I'm taking on the role of a promoter or a publisher. And I think I could do that well because I had a sales and marketing function back home in India. And how do people perceive you as an individual or as a professional of worth? You need to be, aware of what's happening. I hadn't worked for a good 4 to 6 years, and I had to get the lay of the land. I'm in a new country. I needed to make an impact. And remember, my husband's career, or my husband's career 2.0 was resting on my shoulders. So I had two roles to play there. And then I started the process of acclimatization. And I can say that now because I've done that process, and I'm looking at it from behind, right? And I read and read about the work that he was doing in the book that he had written about, which was change management, which was organizational transformation. So long before learning online became sexy, I started this process and I started educating myself. I started meeting people about the book, both online, offline, and talked about the work that we were doing, and needed to be perceived not only as a supportive wife, but as a professional in my own, in my own league. That's what I was very clear about, Nandini. And the knowledge that I sought, it helped me in my learning curve. And I saw that I was able to pick up concepts and talk very, though not having any practical experiences, but sitting and having chats with my husband, with other professionals, which with reading so much, I started becoming more confident about the subject. So once I felt confident about the content, and we had a fabulous editor to support us in getting the book from not being a vanity publication, but being a book that should be in the global archives of driving organizational change, which I think we are fairly successful in. I needed to started looking at the launch, started looking at the publicity, started looking at getting a respectable panel to be part of that. And that's where I started my hustle on LinkedIn. And it hasn't stopped since then.
I know you have given me amazing tips on how to be more present on LinkedIn, and
Hmm.
hopefully someday you will, publish a book on that or hold a webinar on that.
I, I'd really like to blog about, like I said, there is, we women, I mean, we really underestimate our capabilities. We really shy from, from taking the, putting our hands up and taking the lead. It's okay not to know. I used to feel very intimidated about that. But as I started getting more and more confident about the work and the role and the impact that I was making, I said it's okay not to know. I mean, like now I post on LinkedIn saying that, I'm a novice and I don't know, but this sounds good to me, So, and I think that's okay. Google is there to let us know all that we need to know. We need to use wisdom. We need to be having, which gets to my third point of what brought me to where I am, is this whole feeling of curiosity and about being humble about the knowledge or the learnings that you've had, because there's always somebody who's better than you, there's always somebody who knows more than you, and there's always somebody who can, with their experiences learning, reading, can support what you are doing, and you can grow and learn from them. So I think that curiosity, again, a little worm, is very important to have. And it's easy to do. Just by saying that I don't know, I want to learn, and being, okay with that, uh, is fine. And I think that is also very important.
That's lovely, Meenal. You've given us some very interesting tips. You've talked about curiosity, you've talked about taking charge, and you've talked about the hustle and
Yeah.
being absolutely unashamed of the hustle.
Yes, yes,
Yeah. So
yes.
I think those are things which are very, very inspiring, especially when we are trying to make a comeback.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about, the fact that you took charge. You kind of exemplify this adage that the self is the biggest agent of change.
Yes, absolutely. Even before we came to Singapore, I think I'm a bit of a sponge. So a lot of my self started with understanding what my husband does. And he was again selected, he and four other guys were selected in his first organization in Bharat Petroleum in India to run the entire transformation program. And transformation again wasn't even a word. I'm talking about an Indian public sector company.
Mm.
And he ran this whole along with his other, along with another bunch of change agents. And I think what he did at work came home back to me and the two kids.
Lovely.
And And like I lived in a joint family, and it wasn't easy. I had targets at work. I had two little children, so there was always pressure from, at the home and at work and things like that. And then the conversation that I had with my husband, things that he told me really impacted me as a professional, as an individual. And then I realized that, I don't belong in certain situations. How to deal, how certain situations you must look at as transactional and not sweat over so much. Certain situations where I must give more energy to. Why it's important as a working mom that I don't have to be worried beyond a point about what food is being cooked, but about spending that time with my children. you know so all those things, like I say, yeah, I very very proudly wear the badge of being a product of change. So that is, and perhaps I'm a self-starter, perhaps I've got something called grit. And I think working with the intent of not being worried about the expectation of the outcome, I think is what has worked for me as well. Now, I know as professionals, we should know where we are going. We should have goals. We should have targets. We should have goal posts. We should have benchmarks. All of that, yes, very, very important. But along with that, if you have intrinsic intent that you're doing well, and that, sorry, you're doing well for your goals, you're really working in alignment to that. And everything else, then suddenly the universe kind of, this sounds very, very cliched, but makes things happen for you. People see it in your face, in your conversations, and things like that. And, you get support. Like today, like 3 years ago, I was calling people to help me get connected to, can I have a coffee with you? And today I find people doing that with me because they've seen the rigor of my intent. And
Yeah.
and nothing can take away, especially if you are starting something new on your own, especially if you have gone off the professional ladder, okay, but you've got so much of that in you. um, Nobody can take away the fact that nobody can take away that energy and your desire to doing well. It may not be the biggest startup, it may not get the funding, it may not do all of that, but if you can impact yourself and with that impact the people who are with you, I think then it's a great job well done.
Fabulous, Meenal. And I think that if women who are in corporate roles carry the same kind of energy that you carry while you are starting out something so amazing, they would be wonderful leaders and managers, I'm sure, So here's the next question, that you help professionals to create personal branding. You have worked with men and women. Is
Yes.
there anything that you notice or about dealing with the two genders, or is that just hogwash, or we shouldn't even consider that?
No, it's not hogwash. I really wish it was, but and I'm saying that from my own limited experience. We had a pilot where it was an by invitation pilot, so I ensured that we have different, we had both men and women. I tried to ensure that we have different people from different nationalities, from different countries, so the mix is very important. This were both from our clients' angle, and I mean, as in the subscribers who experience the service, and even the coaches. I wanted that mix. And when we started really going, as a full product, and we started selling the services, I realized that men take it so easily versus women. And it's sad because women need this more than men. And this whole feeling of, will I be accepted? Am I saying this okay? Is it proven? Is this thing that I have done, will it be acceptable? Will people react to it? This whole fear of experimentation. and feeling of I have to be perfect. My blog has to be like, perfect English. And what if somebody says another point of view and I don't have an argument to it or a counter theory to it? It really automatically puts the brakes on the growth of the individual. And then what do you have left? You have unfulfilled aspiration. You've got somebody who's bottled up. Okay, and then it keeps on piling up and piling up and piling up, and then they become negative reactions because you've got something in you which you're not allowing naturally in you, you're so good at, you're not allowing, and you're not giving vent to it because of these mental models, because of these things in your head that exist that aren't true. It's not important to be perfect, especially in this world that we are in. I mean, today businesses, for crying out loud, are running on work from home. I mean, do we have a best practices on work from home? No. CHROs are having blatant conversations online and they're constantly learning. Nobody has a formula for so many things. But if you have great content, if you've got fabulous experience, if you are a team leader, if you're working in an organization and you're delivering organizational goals, then you've got to understand that there is a capability in you. And if you don't embrace it, and if you don't recognize that, then trust me, your boss, your peers, new hirers, if you're looking for a change, are not going to recognize you.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Meenal. I am feeling so inspired just listening to you, and I feel I need to become one of your clients, maybe, and you can.
Very happy to. In fact, we've got a little exclusive capsule which helps trainers and coaches and mentors and how to position themselves to business. But anytime, I'm happy to support you and your cohort.
Okay, so we've covered, most of the questions. I'm very inspired by one fact that you said, that every stage of life, you took it with the flavor that it brings, like when you were being the supportive wife, you were the supportive wife. When you were being the mother, you were being the mother. When you were being the professional, when you were doing your lunches, you were unabashedly enjoying them.
Absolutely.
Yeah? And when you picked up this comeback, you are doing it to the hilt. Okay, so I feel that there's a bit of inspiration there, and we as women tend to beat ourselves up a bit too much, that right now I'm doing this, but I should be doing something else.
Yes.
What do you have to say about
that? Be comfortable where you are, because there's lots of life and there's lots of opportunities today, because the way the formats of working are completely changing, right? So there is a place for everyone. Now, if you are happy being a homemaker, which I think is great, totally be happy with that. But if you have a little bit of saying that, okay, 10% of my time I should be doing this, then please do that. Please experiment. Don't wait for somebody to tell you you're good at something. Don't wait for that. If you need that, please call me. I'm happy to have that 15-minute, 30-minute 1-hour chat with you and help you with identifying that. Okay. Claim your own life and claim your capabilities, because we don't want to land up at the end of our energetic lives to say that, oh, I wish. Don't have those regrets. Rather say, oh, I wish I could have done this better. Yes, that's a good thing, because we have to always be in a learning mode. Okay, don't have anything to say that I should have done something which I haven't, because your existing relationships are to suffer. Your kids are watching you every time, and I think that's important. I do what you. If there is something in you today, online courses are available. Start a book club. Start writing a cooking blog. Do lots of things. It's amazing what people can do. Just become, even if money is not your driver, attach yourself to an NGO. I mean, people really need help, and I think that's it. So, and whatever you are doing at whatever point in time, whether it's due to a certain constraint, okay, or whether it's a happy fortune that you are there at that point in time, make the most of it. I know this sounds a little shallow, and I'm not perhaps giving anecdotal evidence to this, but my life has been, and I've practiced that in my life. I went to Hyderabad, and when we were newly married, and we had a 2-bedroom apartment, and one bedroom was ours and the others was vacant. So I rang up my boss one day and I said, can I help start a Hyderabad office for the magazine that I was working in? We had somebody who was like traveling from Bangalore and Chennai, but there was nobody in Hyderabad. He said, yeah, what are you waiting for? And next day saw me in an auto and go to one or two of these advertising clients who were there. And I worked there for 1.5 months, and I used to take an auto, and then I got pregnant, and I used to go with the stomach to clients in an auto, and Hyderabad roads weren't really nice, good
Yeah.
roads. But I did it. So constraints are always going to be there. Find a little way that gives you happiness. Because I think at the end of it, you're really this thing about, again, happiness is very underrated. You know, um, we just have to be happy souls. We've got to be fulfilled. We've got to feel nice about ourselves, because if that's what's going to give us the energy which it has for me, I'm going to emote it. And if I'm able to emote it and inspire others, then I'm very successful in what I'm doing. Personal experience in this, and it was the other way around, because when my kids were little and I was a working mom, and they used to have these Christmas parties and Diwali parties in school, and there is this pav bhaji which the kids love, and I've always trained them that when your hand should go up and the teacher says pav, because because that's what your mother's going to get for you. So but I think somewhere they respect me for that as well. So but I get it when you say that about women whose children have grown up and um, feeling unfulfilled. I think a lot can happen over conversation. So it depends on the environment of the house. Now, if units are very important, the husband, the wife, and the kids, and every who make up that living space for that woman. And and within that, open conversations, fair conversations as to why as a mother I did this, why I did work, why I chose this path, right? That become, because that helps everybody understand and respect the mother
The
or the child.
choice.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
very
not
good.
having,
Thanks for that prompt. Thanks for that prompt. And once having that choice, sticking to it and not regretting it, and then waiting for the opportune time. And that's what I did. I quit my job when Bihan was little, and I started doing freelance. I started working from home again. Right, I used to go into an office, and there are lots of opportunities. You just go on LinkedIn, you talk to 3 people, you put yourself out there. See, there is something called effort. You need to put that effort a little bit, because nobody's going to ring your doorbell and say, hi, that do you have this, and we have a little vacancy running, and we love people working from home. Nobody is going to do that. But if you don't try, if you don't write, if you don't meet, if you don't do a bit of hustling, if you don't talk to your neighbors about it, how is somebody going to know? And this whole thing of somebody is supposed to understand. My husband is supposed to understand, right? I gave up my job because I got married, and I had in-laws, and I needed to be at work, at home versus being outside. That, a woman, get over it. Please articulate your desires. We are not, your husband's not a superhuman being. They sometimes don't know. They've got their own stresses at work. Don't beat yourself because your husband, you think that your husband doesn't. Have you had a chat? Have you gone out for coffee? Have you gone out for a date after the kids have gone to sleep? After have gone to sleep? Do those things, have those conversations, get confidence, make your husband your best friend or your partner or whoever it is. It could be your sister, it could be another, it could be your neighbor. Talk. It really helps. And I really think another thing that many of us do, who we don't have these relationships at home, is to, or this kind of, what should I say, a net, a safety net, okay, counts, really go to a counselor and talk for those 15 minutes, invest in yourself. And that really helps you rewire, rethink, of what you really want to do, and then be comfortable. You could even take a book and draw in it or color in it, and if that gives you satisfaction, great. Let's, so be it. No comparisons, but just not have any regrets, and take ownership of your capabilities and accept that they are yours, acknowledge them, be proud of them. And to the working woman, I would say that it's not about, we don't become our jobs, we lend our capability to our jobs. Our jobs and our organizations borrow that capability. So once we are aware that that intrinsic capability is ours, we own it, treat it as an asset, okay, which is marketable. Again, that makes a huge amount of difference in the way professional women look at themselves, look at their successes, and look at their aspirations.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Meenal. I mean, I am so enriched by today's conversation, and I can't wait to have it up. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, your life's journey, and your pearls of wisdom. I'm sure a lot of people will get inspired by it.
I hope so. I hope if this little chat, which is just came from the way you probed me and allowed me to really reveal what I don't think of, besides a few of my friends know, and we think it is just chats and we just let it go. And if they can help, if this can help, any other professional, gender irrespective,
Yes.
I think a lot of my job is done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini.